RBC sounded the alarm this week when it comes to foreign investments in Canadian real estate, saying foreign investors are using Canada as a piggy bank and distorting the needs of Canadians. We are going to ask the agents about just some of the highlights of real estate in the week. Rick Dillon is with Royal LePage in Toronto. Steve Saretsky is with Sutton West Coast in Vancouver. Rick, I'll begin with you. That is the largest mortgage lender clearly drawing a line. What do you think this signal is?
Well, I mean, they're clearly drawing a line, and I think we've been drawing a line with foreign investments for a long time. I think even in Vancouver, I know the other panelists can chime on this better than I can, but I think they raised the foreign tax to 20%. The reality is, I mean, you know what? They drew their line in the strand, and they don't want foreign investors in the country. The big five banks like Royal Bank are not the only means of getting money for real estate. I mean, you have credit unions, trust companies, a lot of private sales right now. I think the topic's been beaten up a little bit. I'd like to see what lenders and even the government is doing for the young millennials and the first-time home buyers who got to get into this marketplace. We get the fact that, look, you know what, we don't want foreign investment here anymore. Totally understand about it. If you agree with it or disagree with it, it's a different topic. But what are we doing for the young Canadians to help them get into the market, I think, is what we should be discussing at some point.
Steve, what do you make of those comments? RBC saying it's distorting the market. I mean, Vancouver has been very sort of on the radar in terms of foreign investment.
Yeah, I think the horses kind of left the barn, so to speak. I mean, I think we had obviously a lot of foreign capital flowing into the Vancouver's real estate market over the last couple of years, but that really peaked back in 2016, and you can really see that with our luxury market. I mean, that peaked out in spring of 2016, and since then, right now in Vancouver in the detached market, we're seeing some of the lowest sales we've seen over the past 20 years. And I think that's really a reflection of that foreign bid is simply not there like it was over the last couple of years. And I think as of right now, from what I'm seeing, is that condo market's still booming, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and that's primarily the local market right now.
Toronto home sales fell 35% in February from a year earlier, marking the weakest month of sales in 9 years. Rick, are you worried about that?
I wouldn't say I'm worried about that. I would say that all the rule changes and everything that the powers to be were working on is working. I mean, we had a solid real estate market. It is still solid. It's balanced, but it's the things that they're doing are working, so it's put into play. When you factor in interest rates as well, I think, that had a big play with all the rule changes and the stress test. At the same time, there's been interest rate hikes. When you take all that into factor, there's gonna be a slowdown. But you know what? You got to keep into consideration as well. Stats are skewed because last year was an unprecedented year. Last February was just, I've never seen that before. So it would plummet down. But yeah, there's been a lot of rule changes. So it's definitely taking into effect.
Steve, I only have 20 seconds left here, but do you think the spring market is going to be a good one?
I think for the condo market, it's going to remain pretty strong. I mean, sales are a little bit lower than last year, but inventory is still really tight. So we still have a lot of multiple offers. I don't see any resurgence coming back to the detached market. I think it's going to continue to trend downwards.
Steve Saretsky in Vancouver, Rick Dillon in Toronto. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure.